Hello, I'm back.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good. Really good.
Yeah, well, give me some minutes. Satori in the house.
I've I've been on his websim page and seen some of the new
Mhm.
poems he's been doing and trying to figure out this new project, the meme Dream Team Supreme.
Yeah, the meme team supreme.
Yes. So what's happening on MintMe within?
Well, apparently there are somebody who has this token that it's been like basically annoying everybody and saying that everybody's like doing scam and he's super powerful and he's going to destroy all the hackers and scammers because they are deploying tokens from the mixer, not from the from the platform. So
What he's
yeah,
saying there's
everybody's
bots. Is he saying that there's a whole lot of bots on the platform? Or is he accusing people of
well, he write a bunch of things that I didn't even understand what he was talking about on one of my posts.
one of your posts?
Yeah, I just banned him from my token and
Yeah.
deleted the message, right? But after that, he I realized that he was doing it to everyone, basically, like bothering everyone with nonsense messages about
Uh,
hacking and like and sometimes very offensive, like out of
mm,
context, even like
mm. Was he drunk?
so.
Do you think he
Yeah,
was drunk, maybe?
might be, yeah, might be. I never think about it, but now that you mention it, yeah, like as well, I don't
It sounds
drink
weird.
like
Yeah,
that, yeah, but yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I was, like, remember when I used to drink, and
yeah,
yeah, when you drink, you get completely, uh, you know,
yeah.
crazy.
Crazy. Has he been
Yeah.
doing it for a long time? Like, what I mean is, like, is it like one session where he like got drunk and was weird, or was he just always weird? Do you know?
He's been doing it since I think a couple of days ago. He started like really, really,
Mm. And
but I don't see it anymore. Okay, yeah, yeah, he's here. Yeah, yeah, like he's super math and saying things, weird things, like I don't understand, which make your tokens a scam. You tricked the server to accept another outside token not created but made me start smart contracts. Now run. And also,
what?
I realized he shared like a Facebook link,
Yeah.
and and I went there to
Yes.
Facebook and I watched the whole, like I didn't read it all
Yeah.
because it was too much,
Yeah.
and I don't understand what he's saying. But the picture was me buying some tokens, like like
What?
tokens from Bex, which is like I
Oh
think
yes.
it's a really nice project, like
Yes.
Beck X.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, it was little weird. Hey,
Wow.
he's here.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, it's
Hey.
authority in the house.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Really
Hey,
good.
fine.
All the better for seeing you. You've been gone a long time.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Um,
How have you been?
well, good, been good. Ups and downs, you know.
Yep.
But everything's good recently. How
Cool.
about you guys? I saw a little bit of your art medicine whatever talk on Twitter
Oh,
Mm,
for the
the
hubs.
presentation we did for the hub.
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
Okay. You saw some of it. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
awesome. Yeah.
So how's everything going with that?
Well, I think it's really great, right?
Nice.
Like we have uh like a few artifacts sold, and they will match a couple more today. So I think
Hmm.
we're doing good. I don't
Nice.
well I'm not an expert on the systems, but yeah, it looks pretty much good.
Well, we've sold,
Nice.
how many have we sold? We've sold about 9, have we?
uh
Cool.
And we're
yeah, I think so.
aiming to sell 49 or 59. What was it? You worked it out with it. What's our
I can't
target?
remember. I can't remember. Yeah, it was around like 40 something for
Uh,
one, and yeah, something like that, like around 80 total, something like that.
hmm,
I don't have the specific
yeah.
amount right now,
Well,
but yeah. Hmm.
if it's if it's 49, say if it's 50 we have to sell, then we're 1/5 of the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's not bad.
So it's
Progress.
it's interest it's interesting because like Renee's been saying, like, okay, you can use your money and get it back, like
Uh-huh.
because of the system they have, like every 25 that you put in it, like it's multiplied for some with some sort of mathematic formula, but I really don't know how it works. So and I don't have any money. So it's not a message for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yet. Yet.
Yeah. So, oh, Lynn, so what's going on? Well, a lot of things. I've been looking to your post, and the videos are just amazing,
Yeah.
crazy, crazy. Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
my
so like the visuals, and it's kind of funny that Bob Dub's like, oh man, these visuals are like made for the music or whatever, but the visuals were like those things I've been working on, like, so like I have like this, and I stopped for like a long time, but this grand tradition of putting in my weird like Mescaline City Blues stuff into the AI, and then like, so like it started like a long time ago. Like I had like poetry, and I always had this phrase I came up with a long time ago, Mescaline City Blues, and then like other things I've like developed within that. But anyways, so then it started like feeding it into the machine, and then like later, then I'm like telling it to like what's the best way to like do a prompt for an image in like Dolly or whatever, and then it gave me a couple of like these like different things. Actually, I sent you a thread of that like seed script one time, and like it's kind of funny. I feed it some of my stuff, and then I just like keep on like telling it to like go further and further, like with iterations of things, and then like I feed it back to itself until I get like something novel, or then it's like gibberish, and then I'm like, okay, I guess I can't do anything with that. But like they web sims, have you noticed that, Bob Dub? Like recently?
I'm really battling with the web sims. It just doesn't want to generate for me. I just don't.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny because I haven't played with it that much,
Hmm.
but
oh,
like
you're there.
before,
So I can listen to that part
yeah,
story.
yeah. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, now
Oh,
now I can hear
yeah. We're just talking about like web sims being weird. Like it doesn't let you like do different generations like it did before.
Yeah.
Remember before when it was just like a web address and then you could like change thing in the web address and then you get like a whole different page?
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was such
It doesn't
fun.
do that anymore.
No.
Like or I haven't found out like the way to do that because like they changed it to where like you ask it, oh, what do you want to do, and then like you said, oh, build a website like this, and then it does it, and then it's more like editing that website, you know.
Yep.
And
Mm.
it seems too to take a long time to like delve deeper into something.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
then like yeah, and
When
then the
I
more you kind of like edit it, like the it also seems to mess up more.
yeah.
Like yeah.
Mhm.
But I've also got that with
Mm.
Luma, trying to use Luma now.
Oh yeah.
It takes forever to generate anything. That's why I've never got back to you. Sorry, within. I meant to get back to you about that galaxy that you wanted an animation of. It just says
Oh okay.
you've used all your free credits. I've made 6 pictures this month, and it's yeah. So maybe they're all going over onto paid models, and you can't do anything unless you pay. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening.
Yeah, I never try to do video because yeah, when you do it like without uh subscription it got
Takes forever, huh?
super, yeah, and at the end you have the logo and everything. So,
Yeah. Because I know this
mhm,
too on um I think it's called Videogram or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh
mhm,
and in the beginning they gave you like a lot that you could
Mm.
do it was like 20 different like generations and then like now it's like 4.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like so like it keeps on doing it. It's like, I'll pay. You need to pay. I'm like, no, I'm not
yeah,
gonna pay.
yeah.
Maybe
It's
it's
Yeah,
been
maybe
happening.
it's like if you can just jump into it, like you were saying that I don't know. Once did you do it with? I don't know. Was it you who said Satori T that when Giphy first came out, you
uh
used to
huh.
play with it a lot? Like when it first comes out, you get all this freedom to play, and then as soon as people start breaking the rules, they crack down on everything, and you can't.
Well, for all of the AI stuff, like
Mhm.
especially in the beginning, it was to, like each app does like their own like series of this where it's all about like showing that they have usership and like the numbers of usership, and then like once they have like whatever number, then it's like, oh, then
Mm.
it's like tiers of because even was that one that does the video Lumina or
Yes,
yeah,
Luma.
Luma.
Yeah.
Luma.
uh like I paid for like the basic one like a long time ago.
Mm.
Anyways, they changed the whole like tiering system. Before it was like just like 3, like
Yeah.
it's like the basic and then
Yeah.
like it's premium and then it's like a pro, and then like the next time I check like my account, it's like 6 different tiers. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what the hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh
But
yeah.
It's
Man,
complicated. Yeah.
and even
I've
even
been
that one, like a few generations, like if the video's like longer than like 20 seconds or whatever, so that's like
Mm.
4 generations, it starts to get all weird. It's just like
Yeah.
yeah.
mhm, mhm.
I also
I've
found
been
that it got to a point where it started generating, so the video that it generated looked better played backwards than forwards.
Oh, okay.
mhm.
Not every time,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, I've done that with a couple of them too.
Mm.
Like it's funny because now in the new format, which when it was doing it was kind of obvious that it has different models to do the animation from, and so what they
Mm.
do it's from camera angles,
Yes.
Mhm.
like push in, push out, like pan to your right, pan to your left,
Mhm.
orbit, and different things. So
Mm.
so now instead of like because what I would do is I get like a picture that I already have, right, and
Yeah.
then I'll write a weird description in there, and then it would like randomly pick one of those camera angles to animate from.
Mm.
But then
Mm,
now the updated one, like you tell it the camera angle, so you say static, push in, push out, or whatever, and then
Right.
you generate it from there. And then it's kind of funny because you do static, and I guess it depends on like how the picture's laid out. It's not always static. It pans to its right or it zooms in, and
Mm.
then there's things that I like. I don't want it to like do that. I wanted it to kind of be like this static thing that I could like loop later, like
Yes.
when I use it in the edit. And so I'm always like frustrated. Like, why does it keep on like
Mm.
going to the left or the right when I wanted to like remain like centered or whatever. Anyways, it's just kind of funny how it works.
I do find sometimes when I'm trying to manipulate the prompt, it gets really stubborn.
Uh huh.
It's like, no, I'm doing it this way. And I'm like, no,
mhm.
do this. No, and just keeps on like it's got one idea in its mind and it won't budge. Sometimes there is a stubborn model in there.
Uh, well, my bot has been doing very, very good job,
Oh yeah.
generally. Yeah, yeah. Like, I'll, I have I don't know, like too much projects here, and I've been developing with it, and like feeding the back and make additions and everything. But yeah, it's been working really, really good. Now I'm trying to get like the idea that I have for the automated platform. I've
Mm-hmm.
been trying to know to find some mistakes in the concept to take it
Mm-hmm.
down, like trying to find where's the bug in the
Mm,
idea. But the bot keeps telling me like, no, this is a good idea, and this is new actually. And well, I still don't know. I think we will have to pass this idea through, like experts or something to
Yeah.
measure it properly.
well, the other thing is that you can do for it is you can set up a scenario where you make it imagine things. You say, um, these people in this book set up
Mhm.
this hub to work like this and this and this. But then they didn't foresee an unexpected tragedy. Write a chapter where
Mm-hmm.
something terrible goes wrong.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been doing that,
Oh,
like, but
right.
not like with a random tragedy, but different scenarios and what happens if these happened. And yeah, I think it's very solid,
Mm.
at least the idea. And well, apparently it will work, but I don't
Mm.
know. We'll have to see.
Has
Also,
Interesting.
I've been thinking about the drums that you sent me.
Oh,
Story.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
so cool. But I was thinking that a member of the W3 community from Argentina, the El
Uh-huh.
Negro Brote, he sent me like he asked me for to help him with mastering one song. So I did it.
Oh, cool. Uh-huh.
And he sent me back this beautiful audio of a waterfall in the northern part of Argentina. Really nice sound. So I've
Cool.
been thinking like, why not to mix it? Like to have the
Uh-huh.
south and the north and the same track and do something. And
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
I'll be the middle. So I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
thinking
that
about
sounds good.
yeah, it might be interesting. We'll see
Yeah,
how we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was cool when I went like there were three different like performances. So like it's like a whole like 3 day like event. Like they even like walked to the mountain and they like light the mountain. We were there for the light of the mountain. We didn't do the whole like pilgrimage up the mountain. But then
Mhm.
like the final day on December the 12th, that's when they have like a mass, and then afterwards they have all this dancing and they have like food. But there's like three different dancers. And then so like I was like in the middle of like where the main one was, and then the side where the chichamek was at, and they had drums of like the one performance and then the other performance, and then it was kind of crazy. Like I was saying, like even though there were different songs, like it's like they synced up, like kind of like what you were kind of like saying, like oh like this thing kind of like could fit somehow into this part. And that's kind of what I did with the Mayan chanting on your song. Like you just sent me the song at the time that I was listening to that chanting, and I was just like, I think this fits.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. And what was the food? What were that they
Oh,
for something special? Anything
no,
special?
not really. Well, I guess they do it all the time, but it was a soup, abondigas,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then they had these like little like sugar cookies, and then they had like the flatbread, which is like a thicker like flour tortilla type of thing,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, that's about it. I think.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we have here like um how they call well, we have this tribe, native tribe here,
Uh huh.
the
Okay.
Boruca, and they have the party of the Diablitos, like
Okay.
uh, and it's really cool. I haven't uh, visited, but I will have to do it in some moment. But it's getting popular, like
Okay.
and the yeah, and a lot of tourists and everything. For a while, it was like something like very private, but it's really amazing how it is similar to the Dogon
Oh, okay.
in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
in the mask, they create these beautiful masks, like with wooden mask.
Okay.
They are actually very famous, and they sell it also as pieces of art.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very similar to the Dogon tribe in
That's
Africa, like
cool.
the costumes and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
There's this guy, this poet that I like. His name's Saul Williams. But anyways, he has this song and it says that the sound came from here or the noise
Hmm.
came from here. It's something like that. The sound came from here or the noise came from here. And so like but I heard him talk about the song and he goes, I wrote that one because it's like there's some like organic primal beat, and like every like indigenous tribe like has it, and he was talking about like the Dogon, and and then anyways, so and that's why he meant like the sound like came from here. Anyways, like the first people that started to gather and like tell stories and do music like had something similar to like that beat or whatever. Anyways, uh but there's like this thing about like the Dogon which is interesting, and I think I actually get it from the Cosmic Trigger from Robert Anton Wilson. But anyways, like if you listen to them and they said they get their stories and that sound or whatever from I think the Sirius star.
Hmm. Mm,
uh, and
mm,
but that's why Robert Anton Wilson mentions it in Cosmic Trigger is because he was having his own kind of like esoteric psychic break where he was getting a message from the Sirius star system,
Hmm.
and everything
mm,
started to like reflect like the the dog days of summer and like the Sirius the dog constellation, and then like
mhm,
which is kind of interesting in a sense, which is also why I said we could gather around the 23rd or whatever. So
mhm,
there's a phrase that I've been using in a lot of the web sims and then the flower and song like blogs, and it's the technicians of the sacred, and it comes from
mhm,
this anthology of poetry that one of these poets that I like did, and he's connected to the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics. But anyways, uh, so in the beginning, which is kind of what we were talking about, like um, that sound, that beat or whatever, and like what I poetically say, like the heartbeat of the universe. But anyways, this is from the beginning of the anthology that he writes. Something happened to me. Now a full half century in the past that has shaped my ambition for poetry up until the present. Not to focus too much on myself, it is a discovery shared with others around me of the multiple hidden sources and multiple presence of poetry both far and near. I don't remember clearly where or when it started, but once it got underneath our skin, I mean to say that we could hope to know as poetry drew whole worlds that we haven't previously imagined. Nothing was too low or too high to be considered, but the imagining mind and voice, once the doors of perceptions were open or cleansed, were everywhere we looked. And then that's kind of funny too, because I think this happens, and this is kind of like what the whole kind of like um thing that like Robert Anton Wilson later says in his work. But it's like you like like what 23 is, and when he says like, oh, like, because so the whole like story between like 23 is William S. Burroughs meets Robert Anton Wilson, and then like they talk, and during that time he was like investigating the 23 Enigma, and I forget who Burroughs hears it from, but anyways, there's like these weird coincidences that happen on like the date of like 23, and then like once you realize it, then you start seeing 23 everywhere, and then you get like really paranoid and all this kind of stuff. But then like so when William S. Burroughs starts telling him all these like weird coincidences that happen with the number 23, and then kind of like primes Robert Anton Wilson with 23, and then he kind of like sees like 23 everywhere like later, right? And
Yeah.
then he's like, how did William S. Burroughs did that? And then like things that like Robert Anton Wilson has like he's not thinking, he's not doing or whatever, that like get applied to him because he like tells somebody about the 23 Enigma. He's like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then but like there's like weird things that do happen. And then like that's what it was happening with like this the Sirius like star system. And so like there's like things that he gets, but then it also like reflects oddly in like actual reality or history, Um anyways, but I think that's kind of like my own experience with flower and song. Like it's like a concept and a thing that I learned like a kind of a long time ago. And I mentioned my whole the Mayan god of poetry, Azakin, came to me one time in a dream, but I didn't know it like in the dream. The dream was just like weird and like very vivid, and like later I unwrapped the meaning of like the symbolism of like everything that happened. There was like a little word that came to me, which was kind of interesting. But anyways, which is very rare in dreams, I think, at least in my experience. But so uh, but that's the same thing with the flower and song. Like the more I deal with it, then like the more I see it like everywhere. Like the other day, I was walking in the park, and then off in the distance I see someone like playing basketball or whatever, and I'm like, are they playing basketball? That looks weird. And then I get closer, no, they're playing that they were warming up. They weren't like playing it, but they were practicing for the Aztec game where they use their hips. It's kind of like soccer, and they have to
Yeah,
like,
the ball
yeah, the
game.
ball game. Yeah, they were doing
my
that.
brother my brother went there recently.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he been there. Yeah, like in the field,
Phil. Yeah,
and he
yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah, and he was high. Like he told me,
Uh huh.
like maybe these guys were really tall,
Yeah, like the
because
the the ring is like really high up there, huh?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah, so like, and like where before, so I'm reading like different like Mayan or Aztec poetry. I was reading stuff about like the annuals and stuff like that, And so like, which is interesting because then like later I'm able to see how like those threads are still alive like today, like, you know, with like those people practicing that ball game at the park just down the street from me, or other people,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, or even me going to New Mexico, and that they've been dancing that dance there for 100 years, you know. um
Yes.
and I'm only you know, realizing it, that tradition's there. And it's kind of interesting too. I was reading more into it, and about that time, one of the indigenous comes up to New Mexico to teach that dance. Was also the same time my grandmother and my great grandmother and my great grandfather meet. Um, and so like all these kind of like weird like movements and things that happen in, you know, even my distant past that echo now for me to discover certain things when, you know, that like it's there, um all around us for us ready to realize, when we're ready or whatever, which is kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah. You know, about the rhythm or the beat.
Yeah,
Uh, like my personal experience in nature, it's been that, like, I bet that for the natives in that time probably it was actually easier to connect to that, because I was
yeah,
telling my
yeah,
friend yesterday, like when you get into, the forest, you get messages, like with, for for all of your senses.
yeah,
You get smells, like there's a lot of smells, like messages through
yeah.
smells.
Sense, yeah.
And the sound, everything is creating this gigantic, orchestra.
Hmm, hmm.
It's just too much. And it's very easy to just sit there and get, in trance
Yeah,
with the whole thing. And you open your eyes and you have these amazing fractal, piece of art. Like, it's too much. It's like, yeah, it's like having the universe right there, like, to explore
yeah.
everything,
You,
like in the
yeah,
palm of your hand. Yeah.
yeah. Like, I was reading into the like, the old festivals that they used to have, and there was this one they only performed or did every like 9 years or whatever, and it was like the feast of the water tamale or whatever.
Hmm.
And like people would like dress up as birds, but like when they performed they were like birds, like they were like swooping down, like doing, you know, like acrobatic stuff. And hockey, like, you know, like, you know, simulating, you know, the jungle and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but like
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know, like I don't even know how big like the city was back then, but you know, like 20,000 people, like, and like 5,000 people are birds, like different birds. And like
Oh,
all year they're like practicing like their lines to be, you know, the perfect bird in that performance, you know.
so cool.
That
Yeah,
was,
that's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I just shared a video of the, party of the Diablitos and the
Okay, cool,
Imaginarium chat.
cool.
You can check it out. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Oh, oh, so I was, thinking about the,
Uh-huh.
I got interest, to research a little more about the Mayan calendar because of you,
Cool.
right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
When I met you, I really didn't, have any clue of
Yeah,
that, or
yeah,
how it worked, or the counting, or anything. And and but before that, I came up with this idea of the 40-day calendar, remember?
yeah, yeah.
And I got it from I'm pretty sure I got it from the forest.
Yeah,
Like that idea, because it was so clear. I was actually thinking about the period that we spend in the womb, like when we are like, and yeah, and it's so amazing that it was so connected. I can't, I still can't believe that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still amazed about it. And you knew about it, and yeah, that
yeah.
was crazy. That was crazy.
And I think too, it's like what this one poet is saying when he did. That's why he did this collection of the technicians of the sacred. It's like these kind of deeply rooted I like to say like harmonics or whatever, but it's
Mhm.
like these it's not even like human. It's like deeply embedded in nature.
Yeah,
The things that they are trying to express in the calendar. And then I think too,
definitely.
like for us as humans, that's why in my thinking now how it's developed. Why I talk about the calendar. I think too for someone who's an artist or whatever, like I think ideas and projects take like the same kind of like cycles. Like there's like a
Yeah.
gestation
Yeah.
period. There's a period
Yeah,
of it like fermenting. There's a period of it when it blooms. You know what I mean? And there's also
yeah,
periods where they die, and then you like get the seeds of that, and then you see what grows next season.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
What I was relating it to, when I was thinking about it, was about the octaves, the musical octaves.
Okay.
So I was
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking like, yeah, you spend 8 months in the womb, and then you go to the next octave in the ninth month. Like
Hmm.
you go out, and then
Mm.
it's like this process, and it keeps happening like all our lives.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
what is really impressive is how they understood the really, the subatomic level. Probably, I don't know how, but they knew and they understood that, and they just, bring the numbers to a scale on onto, the cosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what is amazing is how you get in these little paragraphs, these little stories, like something that is related to the quotidianity, right? Like
Hmm.
everybody's day life, but at the same time it's telling you something about the whole world, and also the
Yeah.
cosmos. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like
It's
it's
crazy.
giving you, it's providing you a whole vision of everything. I was actually checking these interview with
Okay.
Lex Friedman,
Yeah.
right? But he was interviewing Ed Barnhart, which is
Okay.
an archaeologist, and he was saying something very powerful. He said, "Well, that first of all, that pyramids in the Americas are like thousands of years older than the pyramids in the ancient Egypt,
Mm.
which is
Okay.
really, it changed everything basically,
Uh-huh.
and about history." And also he said something really really interesting. Well, he's it seems like a really professional guy, right? And
Yeah.
really eloquent. So he was saying also that he thinks that the religion came from the Amazonian
Yeah. Okay.
through the world.
Wow.
That's really impressive, because it makes sense. At least for me, it makes
Hmm.
sense, because you get all this amazing information from nature just for being there and being available, like being surrendered to the flow of nature. And yeah, I think that's probably uh, has some truth in it. And also, all the plants and the medicines, and the ayahuasca that
Yeah.
has been there for many many millennia, and
Okay.
they
Yeah.
knew how to do it, and the specifics, a specific amount of each of the ingredients. So yeah, there's definitely something in the forest
Well,
magical.
yeah, yeah. Of especially, of what we're talking about, the technicians of the sacred. There's ones that like specifically say that, like, oh no, the forest or the ayahuasca is the one that we get our songs from. It's like
Hmm.
they're not mixing words, and I think that's what like what changed his way of thinking, and I think it's like this the archaic revival is kind of like getting back to how connected to the whole like cosmos. I remember one of my um most profound but also simple insights. One time I took mushrooms was, there's a difference between like reading the concept of Gaia, like the Earth as
Hmm.
a living, breathing entity, and there's
Yeah.
a whole other thing than like experiencing like the Earth like breathing, which
Hmm. Hmm.
which you have like the felt experience like of mushrooms, and then like from there you're like, oh, it's like that all the time. It's like I'm just like realizing it now, but it's
Hmm.
always been like that. And then
Hmm.
like we always there's always been these deeper cycles. What we were talking about earlier with the Mayan um, calendar, and like, and it's kind of funny because in all the Mesoamerican what do you call it traditions, they had that simple calendar. But it's also interesting what you were saying about like religions and things like that, because there's this other book that I've been kind of mentioning, and he's talking about like how the similarities, and they also sync up because they're working with the same natural rhythms with the I
Hmm.
Ching, which is also one of the oldest um,
Hmm. Hmm.
deviation books, the
Yeah.
ancient I Ching, the Chinese one. Um, and so like those systems are like the same thing, but what they're doing and what they're trying to do is trying to learn the cosmic rhythms and then applying that to our scale, this
Yeah.
scale of being human. But it's not like something they're making up, it's something they're trying to get in tune with. So
Yes.
that's why it still echoes today and now,
Yeah. Uh, I was watching these documentary about Iran.
Okay.
I know Iran is it's polemic, in America and everything, but
No, no,
you
but
know,
that's where
uh,
like the oldest civilizations are at. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they have embedded uh, in their culture and in their architecture these it's everywhere. You can see all the fractals, all the mandalas everywhere,
Hmm.
and it's fully embedded in their daily lives.
Yeah.
Well, at least that was the impression that I get from the images about from the cities and every place that that this guy was walking by.
Hmm.
It was just amazing how it was everywhere. Like, yeah, it's connected. Like it's connected to the root of humans and the earth, as you said. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I
Like
think yeah, I pretty much think that the earth is a living intelligent organism
hmm.
that created all of these
Yeah.
from the stuff that she was taking from other parts of the universe, and collecting, like, you're a creative being, and you're outside in the universe, which is some sort of other kind of of forest, and the earth was there getting information and charging it through it, and bringing all this creation. I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's like interesting things too, like you know, this the sun itself like pulsates, like if it's like breathing, you know.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
which is interesting, like
Well,
to think on like those planetary scales, which is kind of interesting. I think too, like what we're talking about, and I think the deeper message, and what both I think connect me and within the vacuum is this point of like deeply rooted imagination is connected to like intuition, and that intuition is connected to something deep within the nature of like uh reality and nature.
reality, yeah.
And so
Mhm.
that you come and you get things that are connected, like, you know, oh, I've just made this up or whatever. No, but you kind of like bringing it out. And like when you were talking about like those the mosaics, like there's these old structures
Yeah.
in the Middle East. And there's this one famous one, the Alhambra, that this one guy that I like talks about. And then he's a chaos mathematician. But what he was saying is, like, you know, later on in the Western world, we talked about how, you know, this advanced mathematics, and then, you know, the fractal geometry and this and that, and they just, you know, I think it's like credited in the 60s or whatever, someone, you know, inventing it or whatever. But yet in like back in the day in the Islamic world, in this Alhambra, they have all this like artist design, but they have those fractals in the
Yeah.
mosaics in their architecture.
Mhm, mhm.
So they were
Yeah.
dealing with that same mathematics back then, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
uh, and I think it's very intuitive as well, because I remember when I was little, I don't know, maybe 7 or 6, and I was playing at the park, and I was
okay.
watching
Uh-huh.
this, like, the mold in
Uh-huh.
some, and
Oh,
there
okay.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
forest nearby, and I was looking at it, and I was, okay, this is a small one, and that is a big one. And
Oh,
you pretty much uh, uh, realize that, okay, this is different scale of the same, probably,
yeah,
like.
yeah.
And that was fractal math right there, but like very uh, natural way to understand it. And then you get to school and everything, and they forget
Yeah.
about it. But they don't even take it into account. But but it's very important. It's very important to, because that led you to understand another very interesting aspect of what we are, is that interconnection is interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah.
So and you ended up, well, I personally, uh I think my ethics are more related to that aspect, and it's technical. It's not moral. It's not, It's just like, if you know that, you know that you're connected to the whole, and every action, every move that you do, it will affect the whole in a way. So that makes you, like, to think about it, and think about what you want to do and how you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
and it's about that. And yeah, of course, art and poetry and all the fruits from that emerge from that understanding, or at least that exploration of that part. uh Also, how these patterns uh manifest in every aspect of life. If you can see, you start to see the patterns everywhere. And if you know but yeah, I think it's natural, uh natural understanding of our own reality and our own origin.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there's this old line that I like to say, and that's kind of like where the whole phrase "first poets" comes from. What is it called? The history of consciousness, the origins of consciousness, and the bifurcated mind, or whatever. I forgot who the author is, but anyways, he goes. Some say the first poets, what do you call it, were the shamans or something like that. But
Mm.
the first poets were the gods or something like that. And it's just like that line, the first poets were the gods. And then the whole book was kind of like this weird interpretation of like an earlier kind of like mind before things were so like individualized. And
Yeah.
anyways, that like they were talking about like the collective mind, but they kind of like gave it the voice of whatever god or whatever, or this thing. But which is interesting because he was talking, like Homer and Ulysses and the Odyssey and stuff like that, right? So old like Greek poetry, which were oral poetry, and these guys would like memorize the whole thing and they have like in their memory palace or whatever. But the tradition of flower and song in the Mesoamerican world was a lot like that too, in the sense
Mhm.
that like the poets would know their lines, whatever they were performing. They'll just have to see like an image or whatever, then they'll like
Mm.
perform, whatever, recite their lines for like 20 minutes or whatever. This whole big old long thing about whatever it is that they had to say or whatever.
Yeah.
um
And it's like interpretation of frequency at the same
mhm.
time, because yeah, like frequency and sound is like before language.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and there's where like when you participate, like trying to give that some sort of description, or turn it into a poem or a song.
yeah, yeah,
That that's where our participation is, it's been happening.
yeah. But
And very important is how you put yourself in that channel, right?
mhm.
Like how and what you do to get into that state of mind.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So it's actually interesting that it's pretty much like when I'm trying to to channeling and to connect
Mm.
with that sort of information.
Mhm.
It pretty much like I try to to, it's not like a blank, it's just I don't know how to describe it. It's just like you have to be really really conscious about your limit and your how small you are. It's kind of
Mhm.
a humble attitude into it. And but it has to be true, but it came from understanding of, yeah, we are so small, we are really like small creatures in this vastness. And so, but when you get into it and you just keep your mind quiet and you just get into it, I got the best songs.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even think about it, it just happened.
Mhm.
It's like it takes you. Sometimes it's like, "No, I'm not looking for it, it takes you, and okay, I got to tell you this, and
Yeah.
there's a song or there's some idea or anything, something cool normally.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely the same thing with me. It's like that's what I was kind of like briefly dancing around in the beginning with like the images and stuff. It's like this thread that I pull. It's like I had stuff like at first it starts with the seed of like some weird poetry that I was writing because like I get into my creative moods, and then there's just like things that float around in my head that I like, put down on as notes, these poetic notes, and I don't know what's gonna happen with them, and then later I play with them, and then I keep on pulling at it, and I keep on pulling. I was like, oh, this one looks good. I don't know what it's good to use, and then like later I'm like, oh, okay, I hear this music, and I'm like, okay, and then it just like unfolds pretty naturally. It's not like I don't really try that much, and it just
Yeah.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah, what we do is try to, like to develop the skills to be able to translate as
yeah,
much as we can, and to bring it to the world, like as like with the more fidelity that we can. But yeah, it's like messages from this field. It's a
yeah.
field. Have you heard about Jacobo Greenberg?
No,
Well, Jacobo Greenberg was a Mexican doctor,
okay.
and he was investigating really, really deep about what he called la lattice, and the lattice was like this energy field,
Okay.
and his research was about it, and actually in his investigation he met this lady called Pachita,
Mhm.
which was a curandera, and
Mhm.
she performed surgeries without any type of medical equipment at all. And
Mhm.
but what is really impressive is that mm, uh, she was performing organ, like, how you say it, like transplant,
Okay.
organ transplant. But the new organ, she was getting it from La Latis. She was getting it from the field and put it into the body and close it with her hands. And this
Mhm.
guy, who was a really professional doctor, there's an institute about his research still. He disappeared,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, I'll send a lot of information about him. It's really impressive, and he saw that and he described it in the interviews. I think this was around 70s or something like that,
Yeah.
and he really described all the procedure, and he was like, and she was doing it right in front of not only him but other specialists, and she was just doing
Interesting.
it, grabbing a new liver and put it inside of the body of this person and closing it with her hands. So there's something amazing about that, uh, that we don't know yet. I
Yeah.
don't know how to bring things out of the field
Uh huh.
still, but I'm pretty sure that we will get there in some point naturally,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, which is basically what we are like envision with this. Well, it makes sense, because everything, if everything is r- like a slow down frequency, right? Like
Mhm.
densified frequency. So I think if you understand like very well how it works, you will be able to manifest in that way because of your understanding of those rules,
Mhm.
like how it works, and how, because everything that we have here, yeah, we took it from the earth, but there's a process behind everything, and there's a connection, and everything is vibrating.
Mhm.
So yeah, everything came from this field, I believe, and
Thing that
and
you were saying
yeah.
the other day was really interesting was how all the frequencies all line up together and you find your place within them, and each person finds a different frequency to inhabit. Is that what you were saying?
Well, I think we inhabit many frequencies at the same time.
Oh,
Like we are, but what I have noticed is that, for example, if you get into the complaining mode, you know, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
complaining about everything, it's probably
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you're taking your vibration down, and you is like you get exposed to some sort of dangers that exist in that frequency.
Uh-huh.
And but when for example, you raise your vibration by being grateful for the little things, the friends, this
Mm-hmm.
meeting, whatever, you raise your vibration and you get into these other worlds. It's
Mm-hmm.
all in
Mm-hmm.
your mind. It's about how your mind make an interpretation of those uh, information fields, and how you get into it. But yeah, definitely, there's a really interesting thing about how we are a frequency beings inside a sea of frequency
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
waves, right? So yeah, yeah, I think
Fascinating.
that we. Mhm. But yes, I think there's, it's like when you get to these the situation of the enemy, like it's happening pretty much on this whole thing about crypto and these new technologies, and there are
Mm-hmm.
opponents, naturally, right? People who believe, no, this is not good, and I will oppose that. But I find out when you get to that opposing force, instead of like confront it and try you know to fight it, you just raise your vibration. And like, yeah, it's almost like telling them, like, yeah, you're okay in your frequency. I'm gonna go up or down, or side, or whatever. I'm gonna move and keep doing these from my like from the original intention that I had, because uh, and is not about the opponent. But when you start to build something against the opponent force, the opposite force, it's like you're just staying there, fighting and keeping, like dealing with these forces that are, and if you try to take them down or whatever, it's like you're giving them like energy, and you're like
Mm-hmm.
feeding that idea. So, because when it's, if this is an infinite universe with infinite worlds inside worlds, that means that, yeah, we can create something and make it an option, making it an alternative, uh, and you don't have to fight with anybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, but yeah, I think that's what I've been getting from this understanding, or research about our own nature,
I think
like.
that that was one of the
Mhm.
things that was so profound for me in that song that the first one of yours that I really listened to, which I think is, was it Wonderful? Did you call it Wonderful? Life is so
Mhm.
wonderful. I
Yeah,
think just that that idea that, like, just for me listening to you saying life is so wonderful over and over again, and I started thinking, wow, when I listen to this song, life starts to look wonderful. And it was so interesting for me to just that few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
of just listening to
yeah,
you say it. And then I was like, oh, really? Well, if this guy thinks this, then wow.
yeah. And that was, and that song was actually, and it still moves me, like this song moves me,
Me
because
too.
I don't see it like mine, I see it like I grab it. uh
Mm.
and and but the thing is that I made that song in the worst part of the pandemic, and the world was like super awful in that
Yeah.
moment. And and that was what I got from nature, because I got that song in that spot where I was going to see it every day. Oh, story's out.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I hear you guys now. Do you hear me?
okay. Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
I don't see you guys.
No, you can't.
You don't, no, I can't see you,
You
but I can
just
hear you.
Oh, well,
You just
that's crazy.
you just disappeared in the lalatis.
Yeah, I got
But
like disconnected or something.
I think that song is a really manifestation of transmutation. You know what they
Okay. Uh huh.
call transmutation, which is like that you take something, uh whatever, like you take something negative and turn it into something positive, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And yeah, that's something hard to do sometimes, but when you understand it and you're in the hard moments of your life, and you look at that hard moment, and like you said, I'm going to turn these sadness and these desperation in something beautiful, and you just
Mm-hmm.
start to laugh about it. I think that's the kind of fight that I like to fight,
Mm-hmm.
like with yourself. And no, I don't, I'm not going to feel that way. And like, and or when situations are tough, generally in life. So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, you can
yeah.
turn it into something wonderful.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like you say, Satori, it sort of like unfolds around you. It's sort of just, if you tune into it, you just find it there, right?
Mm.
Yeah. And you know, that's like the so I talked about this I think a long time ago with Bob Dub, but at that time I was coming back from a funeral of my great uncle,
Mm.
and at the funeral they shared a story about him in the hospital, and then he was in the hospital, and then he liked music, so he liked to sing and stuff like that. And then he
Mhm.
was there, and then his daughters were there, and then so he was in pain or whatever. This is his like final days or whatever, and he'd go, I, I, and then he goes into that song,
There
and
you
then
go.
someone told him something about that, and then so the daughter shares the story at the funeral, and she says, he said, well, it's either cry or sing, and he's like, I rather sing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like even up until the end, it's like your choice of like how you take it, or you interpret what's going on in your life. And I had a other similar experience with my great grandmother when she was passing away. And she was like, even like at the hospital, she was pulling pranks and jokes. And
Hmm.
then I
Hmm.
and then I remember her talking to the doctor, and they were saying about, like, they could do this. I think it was like dialysis or something like that. And then she kind of asked them, was like, is that gonna, like, because she was already old, like 90 something, and she's like, nah, it's like, I don't want to be like inconvenienced. Like, if you can't really do anything, then I'd rather go home and just like die in my own home, like,
Hmm.
And so,
Hmm. Yeah.
but it wasn't like a sad thing. It was just like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, I rather enjoy my last moments than to be like, prodded and
Yeah.
inconvenienced here in the hospital doing all this crap. And so, anyways, but everything with her, and she like would tell everybody, like, at my funeral, you better have fun, because you had fun when I was alive. and she didn't want anybody to wear like dark colors. She told us to wear, her favorite color was like blue, so to wear like, light,
Hmm.
lively colors and have a celebration and stuff like that. And oh my god, at the funeral it was like the funniest like thing ever. Like we were sharing stories and
Hmm.
about her, and everybody was laughing.
Hmm.
It was great, but like, like my great grandma like always like told us that and like prepared us for that. And so like, even though that like those are like the hard moments, but those are always the like the most meaningful and like the rightfully sacred moments, like if you make them that way. And like
Mm.
and I think that's like part of, the real work for, and not this is not even as an artist, but for as a individual, as a human experiencing like your life, holding on to those different really meaningful moments,
Yeah.
it's like the only thing that really matters at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes. That's really powerful. Yeah. And yeah, I actually, I tell everyone, like you can sing, just sing. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter if you're good or not. It doesn't matter. It's just when you're doing it, you will start to feel better.
yeah,
When
yeah.
the frequencies are passing through your body and you're expressing it and singing whatever you want,
Hmm.
that change your frequency. But I think
Yeah,
what I was telling Bob was that we all have to tune that, or we can tune that frequency, and it's not outside, it's inside of us, it's
hmm,
passing through us. So, and I think it's very related to our childhood, like for me, when I remember like the perspective that I had when my mind was completely, you know, like the beginner's mind, and you
mind, yeah,
were, yeah, and you were just looking at the world with, everything was new, and and you can have that experience again every day if you want,
yeah,
if you're channeling that, and then is when you can have access to this infinite imaginarium.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Because it does is everything is changing a little bit, everything is moving, everything is new. But when you have these like like a rigid mind, so everything is the same, and you got like, okay, is the same shit. You're right. Doesn't matter where you are, or doesn't matter. And what I found is that my need to be like impressed by external things really got, went in decrease, by the time. And at least for me, I enjoy just being here and to cook and to go to the garden and pet the cat, the small things. Uh, and you at least, personally, I don't need to. No, I need to go to that fancy new restaurant, or go to the new club, or all those things are good. I'm not complaining about it, but it's not like the same. I felt how my life changed in that aspect. Like, you start to, to look at the value of other things, and you discover a treasure, and you discover like these, like the essence
Mhm.
of life, maybe. Yeah. And
Beautiful, beautiful.
it changed everything. Yeah. Also, how other people interact with you. And
Mm,
yes,
mm.
yes, it's been a journey, magical journey, with good and bad moments.
Yeah,
Yes.
For
Yes,
sure.
some point, it's not all about, you go deeper and deeper into yourself, and because we need connection. That's why we are here. So in some
Yeah.
point I felt like, okay, I'm here alone in this mountain, just coding for the universe. So
Yeah.
why I'm still here? I was thinking like, why I can I do this job from the other side? Like, take me out. I don't have, like, you start to feel like that. I was starting to feel like that. And I remember my friend. I talked with my friend. He's an older man, 75 or something,
Yeah.
and he was telling me, maybe you need to reconnect with
Yeah.
your tribe, with your people. And so I remember that I was listening to him, and okay, this makes sense. I've been by myself so many times that maybe I need to reconnect. And so I allowed myself to do it, and some things started to happen in reality, and I could connect again with my old
Yeah.
friends and family, and people from uh and and that was great because it it gives me a sense of belong again.
Yeah.
I was not just isolated, like coding for the universe or whatever. I was part of these human uh, family, and it was good, and it's good. And I feel, since then I lost that sensation of, like, I don't want to be
Yeah.
here anymore, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
But it
Oh
happens.
yeah.
Yeah. It's part of
That's
life.
oh yeah. Especially what is there's a saying, there's like an old Toltec saying something about all paths are like folly or something like that. Like um like the everything and the every win, and but also too there's like the other, like the darker side of it is like the meaningless on like the god scale of looking at things.
Yes.
Like
Right.
how yeah, like
Mhm.
our small little pattern is, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think that's also too, there's this thing that I'm gonna read right now from the technicians of the sacred, and it's titled "To Find Our Life," and this is an old um, Mexican indigenous tribe. A few hundred yards down the trail, the peyote pilgrims halt once more. Facing the mountain and the sun, they shouted their pleasure at having found their life and their pain at having to depart so soon. Do not leave, they implored the supernaturals. Do not abandon your place, for we will come again another year. And they sang songs after songs, and they parting gifts with the Kakayari. What pretty hills, what pretty hills, so very green where we are. Now I don't even feel, now I don't even feel, now I don't even feel like I'm going to my rancho. For there are at my rancho is so ugly, so terribly ugly there at my rancho. There, but here in the Wichita, so green, and after eating in comfort as one likes, amidst the flowers so pretty. Nothing but flowers here, pretty flowers, so brilliant colors, so pretty, and eating one's fill of everything. Everyone's so full here, so full with food. The hills so very pretty for walking, for shouting and laughing, so comfortable as one's desires, and being together with all the one's champions. Do not weep, brothers, do not weep, for we come here to enjoy. We come on this trek to find our life. For we are all here. For we are all here. For we are all the children. For we are all the sons of brilliant, colorful flowers, a flaming flower. And there is no one who regrets what we are.
Glory.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
you know, like you know, humans throughout all time, when they try to connect or reconnect, are going through the same kind of like mechanics, you know,
Mm,
that we're still doing and struggling with, and that's our own individual flower song, but also to the flower song, you know, that we're like connected to.
Mhm, mhm. It's like, you know, it's like how we understand past and future. You know, like we are
Hmm.
here, but we're being feeding by the past and by the future at
Yeah.
the same time, and that's how
Yeah.
we actually exist. Like we are
Yeah.
like pressurized in
Yeah.
in the both verses, like, and we are the center of that. But that means something really amazing is that you can make little changes in your past, or at least the way that you
Hmm.
had some experience, and give it another meaning, or look at it from a different angle. S- and
Yeah.
and and what you notice is that, okay, the past didn't that memory of the past is the same in a way, but you actually update a new version of yourself in the present.
mm,
It's a little trick right there.
mm. That's a
It's
fascinating
psychological,
concept. Yeah.
but it's also uh, uh, some sort of function of the
Hmm.
reality that we are not taking, like, we need to understand better to be able to use it. And
Yeah.
I have experienced a lot of those upgradings, uh, from traumatic experience that you had when
Mm,
you were young or whatever. You take
Hmm.
that and you look at from another angle. Actually, you can make this exercise to go there as you are now, and present
Hmm.
to yourself in that point, and tell to yourself, hey, I am here and I am fine. Please
Yeah.
don't cry. Everything
Yeah.
will be fine. And
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
yourself, and that little you will understand, and that message will be upgraded, updated in your present with another meaning, and it changed uh, many aspects of your life when you understand that. But I think, yeah, like going deeper and trying to decipher these codes, and trying to understand, gives you uh, the possibility to play a little bit more with it, and to
Hmm.
experiment.
Yeah. Start to become you know, that's like this weird thing that I like to bring up all the time, and why I use the old writing of weird. You know, it kind of stems from Beowulf, but like, and so in that time, how they were using the word, it meant more like faith, or like the Tao, like the natural flow of things. But in the poem, Beowulf forges his own word by like using his hands to fight like these demigods or whatever, and then he kind of makes his own path. But it's like that. So like in the poem, it's kind of like Beowulf like first encountering the weird, and then like trying to understand it, and then him with his hands forging his own destiny, right? And
Mhm.
but like that, but in it is the person, they use these metaphors of his hands, and he doesn't defeat the demigods with a sword, he defeats it with his hands. And so like later the person starts talking about like hand words and the word weird and faith, and like even how like later Christian, like the, I think it's the Franciscans or one of those Catholic monks, they
Mhm.
translate the old pagan poem of Beowulf, and then they change the word weird, right?
mm,
Because of religious stuff, and you know that
Yeah.
happens all the time. but anyways, it's interesting going back to the old, and then what you were saying too, like our understanding of the word, right, and our relationship with that word, and how they understood it, and then like what it means, like now, and I take it as like this like grand kind of like metaphor, and it goes to these other things that I play with, but it's the phrase for modern one would be it's like program or be programmed, like start like creating, or then you're like enslaved in like someone else's like narrative or concept. And then like especially nowadays, oh my god, just go on Twitter and it's like
Mhm.
fucking the seventh layer of Dante's Inferno. Oh my god, 5 minutes of staring into the abyss.
Everyone wants to be a programmer of others.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, and also too what I kind of get to, and for my own realization, is that like, and I think we were all kind of or within the vacuum was saying a little bit of this too, but like I think the real value of artwork is like what it does for the own individual, and I
Yeah.
think that's what the beginning in the beginning of the book of the technicians of the sacred, he talks about like dealing with the poetry and understanding, like uh even because like a lot of the older stuff that he's dealing with are like performances and like oral traditions, and a lot of these indigenous people didn't really have formal writing, so like what I mean, like trying to like truncate it into English is always weird.
Hmm.
um but him dealing with that and him thinking brought in his idea of what poetry is, and what we were saying too, like before the word that was the sound, meaning like all of this stuff that we like now deal with, like with words that we try to truncate words, were before that they were actually like experiences, like things that were like me going to that the dance, like it's to be like experience with other people, even like like performing, being those spontaneous sessions, being with other musicians in a space and then jamming out, and then that's like what comes out of it,
Hmm.
um that kind of stuff, like and it's always interesting too, because of how our world is now, and especially like the internet, and even I think getting worse too with like the large language models and stuff like that. It's like we always forget, it's like the map is not the territory, like we're dealing with the word apple instead of the actual fruit that gives you like nutrition that you can eat and hold, and
Hmm.
even throw at as a projectile.
Hmm.
we're living with the lesser sim of the reality, with the word. And but like I think like the poet's job, or even this thing that I keep on like pushing with flower and song and being a first poet, is to see, like to reimagine like the world again, like it's still the world, but with colors, with those different flowers, of how you even interpret it, things, kind of like what you were saying, like when you frame it in your own head. um it's interesting to start like not coding other people, but like doing it for yourself, and figuring
Hmm.
out
Hmm.
what you could find out within your own process
Yeah.
is always like the most interesting of the
Yeah.
songs.
And be able to provide as well,
Yeah.
like to provide a space, to
Hmm.
provide an alternative to do things differently. and
Yeah.
and that's part of the process, and how we can bring the that harmony to the
Mhm.
world, presented it in a way that is not imposed. It's an option, and it's there, and it's been building with love, whatever you're doing. And and yeah, I was this text that you just read reminds me of some part of the Gospels, actually, when they were like sad, and
Yeah.
yeah, it reminds me of that. And it's so interesting because I have heard and read about the idea that exists that the primitive Christianity actually was rooted to the consumption of the mushrooms,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
because you know uh, uh, they call it actually, teonanacatl is the flesh of the gods.
yeah. And in the early Gnostics, like that's like
Yeah.
what
Hmm.
they were referring to the host, and then that's where that one guy was saying, "Oh, but because it was also a deeper, when we're talking about traditions,
Hmm.
like a lot of what later becomes the Roman Catholic Church is like they rewrite like the narratives of the old like traditions, and the old
Yes.
traditions were like these fertility mushroom cults that were like
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
Christmas is so
Yes.
full of like mushroom imagery, and then
Yeah.
yeah, like Santa, he like a lot of that, like there's one interpretation of that is like the Anamascara mushroom, which is red and white.
Hmm.
Reindeers eat it, so then like like old what do you call it, shamans and Siberian shamans, and actually the word shaman comes from them. But they would like they would feed these mushrooms because there's like a toxin in it, and you have to kind of like make this drink out of it. But they get the reindeer pee from them eating all these mushrooms when they grow, and they kind of do it around this time, and then they'll make some drink out of it because like their kidneys like filter out whatever, and then they get all psychedelic out, and then like okay, that's where like the reindeer's flying comes from, and then and then they used to like dry the mushrooms, like these Siberian
Uh-huh.
shamans used to dry the mushrooms on trees, like how like you do ornaments on trees.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Huh.
Good
That's
Christmas
interesting.
season. Yeah. Yeah. All that kind of interesting stuff
uh
about like the symbols, and then like even if you look at vintage Christmas imagery, there's a lot of those mushrooms the that
yeah.
are in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been uh uh in a way, the traditions, ancient traditions, and our connection to nature, and to know
Yeah.
about ourselves, it's been like really distorted through
Yeah.
history. Well, like, and yes, this is like a repeating story that you can find everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own
Oh, yeah.
messiah in a way, and that, like, this character that represents somebody who who acquire like conditions to be able to translate. And it's as I can see, it's like a pattern that it's in repeat. And normally what happens is that some guy take the mushrooms maybe by accident, I don't know. And the guy is like, okay, I have this new understanding of reality, and start to tell his friends or whatever. And the friends make a religion out of it, and make a business. And it doesn't have anything to do it doesn't have
With the
anything to do
yeah.
with the original experience of
Experience.
their friends, you
Yeah.
know and I think this has been repeated once and again, and that's why we have all these religions made by friends who had a friend who has this experience and told them some crazy shit, and okay, this is interesting, let's make a business out of this. So
Yeah,
I think it's been happening, and the biggest religions in the world are a clear example of that, I think. Like,
yeah. But I think
yeah,
that too, that orientation is no, see, because of the world that we live in, you have to, you know, engage in the market to live and survive. But there's a deeper meaning of, engaging with art, of being a musician or a poet or whatever. And what it is this that deeper stuff about like how it changes how you view reality, how you view yourself, how you are even there's this one book that I was reading, and when they were talking about like these stuff that like people in the past, intellectually or artistically, leave are like technologies of the South, or like these different lessons, these different tools, where they're different music frequencies, weird poetry, complex mathematics, or whatever. They're all like embedded with the these like handwords of like forging your own path and destiny. But it's always kind of interesting, I think, in my own orientation and understanding, and even in my own misadventures, it's better to learn and sing with the songs of eternity.
Mm.
What we were talking about earlier, being in the harmonics of cosmic love.
yeah,
uh, because I always like this one thing that John C. Lilly said, and we could start ending it around here. Is like that basically cosmic love is absolutely ruthless, doesn't care about about you or me, is basically the sentiment. And the world and the universe is going to unfold as it should and will. I think it's just more interesting and fun when you get to play along and even influence the sheet music for the songs of eternity. You know.
yes, yes. And I think, I don't think religions, well, like everything in this world, like it could be
Good
something
and
good or
bad, yeah,
bad. Yeah.
yeah,
So because you can learn a lot from
yeah,
traditional religions. I've been, like
for
doing this,
sure.
and yeah, there's wisdom everywhere if you can look for it, and it's
Yeah,
valuable.
I
It's
think it's too.
valuable.
It's yeah. It's like what the first poets uh tried to develop is that like it's like how you you the individual like process it. You know what I mean? Like I think that's
Hmm.
also too what I got from Cosmic Trigger and Robert Anton Wilson. He was doing like all these different like crazy esoteric like traditions, right? But the trick was is like when you're doing it, you have to like be all in. Like you can't like think of it as like other. You got to think about it like within the system. Um, and I think like that's also too. I think there's a line in one of the latest poems or whatever. It's not that the dream is real; it's the dreaming. And
Yes.
I think the active engaging with the now, the cosmic unfolding of the Tao, in the given present of where you are is that. Um, and I think that's also too what's kind of interesting when we were talking earlier. Like these are all models and systems, and I think I like the interpretation that it's not that these like when the models like are limited or whatever, like people like oh it's wrong, it's bad or whatever, but it's not like it's like bad or good, it's just that it's limited. And there's
Yes.
other models, and there's other things for different domains and other ways of thinking in different times. but it's
Yeah.
just that okay, at this time and this moment this one doesn't work, and then you get a different one, or at other times this one, you know what I mean? Like I think that's where the kind of moment we are now in this place of human development and history is that we're able to have this kind of quantum look at this relativistic, these different lenses, because later on in Robert Anton Wilson's career, he does quantum psychology, and it's about like having different lenses and different models of reality,
Mm.
and not to view them as false or negative or real or not real or whatever, or bad or good, but it's just like, okay, this is what this one is, and then this is what this other one is, and it's just like to experience that reality tunnel in its like that authentic form, to learn what you can from that perspective, and then like move on to another perspective. But we have like this like ability now to kind of like do that, but also I think too, it's like learning, the different like skills, because like also too, it's like okay, you learn one model or whatever, but it's also like like this whole thing with the Mesoamerica, it has been like a long time that I've been, slowly picking away at it, and then it's
Hmm.
like later it develops into this like new interpretation or this new understanding of it. But I think anything's like
Mm.
that, like, you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
this calendar. It could be other things, but
Mm.
it
Yeah.
kind of goes with what we're saying is like this huge, whether we realize it or not, like we're all like putting a little grain of sand in this huge mandala that is
Hmm.
human life, the whole orchestra of human life.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
about the moment and about to be here, it's
Yeah.
and I'm something that I like to do, at least with friends, is
Uh-huh.
like when they ask me, like trying to provide with tools for self discovery, because
Hmm.
that I think that's key. How can
Yeah.
you, like I was telling Bob the other day that I really don't, when I get into that mood or that uh, channeling position, it's like
Hmm.
you try to put yourself, and I don't believe in anything. It's
Mm.
like
Yeah.
you just, and you just say to yourself, okay, there's nothing that you can rely on, like about information or how to do things, or and try to put yourself in this precise moment, and this whole, this is all there is. And from here, what would you do if this is the first moment you are in on this planet? What will you do? What you think, what will you think about the world if you don't know anything about it?
Mm.
So that perspective opens maybe it's a little trick that you play with your
Yeah.
mind to make your mind like to, it's like the same thing when you don't know about something, and or when you want to understand something else, you want to acquire certain knowledge about whatever thing you're doing, and but if you put your mind in the position of I don't know, okay, the
Yeah.
mind is like, it understands and opens because it doesn't know, and it opens the antenna. But if you think that you know everything already,
Yeah.
you
You
cannot
already
you
assume.
cannot get anything new. It's like you're blocking yourself because you already knew. So there's nothing new to know about it, right? So
It's
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that kind of tools, uh, I think might help others to discover about themselves, because I think that we are all like in the fundamental structure like the same, But that's the amazing thing also about the algorithm, because it's the same seed, but it can grow into something beautiful, completely different. And I think
Mm,
that's the beautiful aspect of human nature, that
Hmm.
we can evolve, and we can turn ourselves into something beautiful, something, but something different. Is not the same as you, or you know and that's great. And to be able to celebrate the others flourishing
Hmm.
way. And that's uh I think that's something really helpful to understand, to accept others as well, and their journey, and
Yeah.
how they decided to do it, programmed or not, because
Hmm.
oh yeah, it got complex when you get out there and see. And that's some experience that I've been living in real life with the hop. People from
Hmm.
different backgrounds, different education,
Yeah.
different everything, and different ages, different places, different everything. So how how can you just like be there and try to provide a space to be themselves, and to discover themselves more than anything, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially with artists, that's a key
Yeah.
part. That's a key part. And uh how there is that this is not very, like, not very popular, like not many people know about these things, but that's exactly what art is about. It's like to get deeper into yourself and to know your yourself, and try to make a good description of it and put it out there.
Yeah. For sure. Well, thanks guys for hanging out with me and going deeper into Mescaline City.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Could I ask you a question before you go? Just one quick
Yeah.
question. You were saying
Yeah.
earlier about the difference between talking about the experience of being joined and like experiencing the experience of being joined.
Uh-huh.
And you were saying that through using, was it peyote or ayahuasca, was it you said? Are these things like these sort of ritual ceremonies, are these things that like are structured that people do together to experience that, or is it an individual journey?
Well, like the poem that I read,
Yeah.
that was from a tribe that does peyote. So they're going on a
Uh-huh.
pilgrimage together. So like they
Mm.
would have like a lot of like the traditional like flowers and songs in not every indigenous Mesoamerican tribe did psychedelics, but most of them did. And
Right.
the northern ones were doing mescaline or peyote.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the from my understanding, um, so like even now the they would do there's peyote ceremonies in the southwest where
Hmm.
it's like a group thing and there's songs associated with it. Also, there's tribes that have songs and associated with mushrooms, and there's ayahuasca, the um, what are they called within the vacuum?
Teonanacatl or ayahuasca.
No, the ayahuasca songs.
And well, Icaro,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's pretty much what the shamanic traditions from the Amazonian
yeah,
tell about, when because they ex, they make diets with different plants.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the shaman go into the forest and stay there sometimes 40 days just eating that plant or another. And he described that at the end of the journey, the plant gives him as an icaro, which is a
Yeah.
song
Song.
basically.
Mm.
Hmm.
And it's amazing because that's, for me at least, is the greatest example of how, the highest level of technology. Because the
Hmm.
shaman, when he has to, like somebody came to him with some pain or whatever, and probably he knows, okay, this plant will help this person to
Hmm.
alleviate the situation. So he doesn't have to go and cut the plant and prepare the whole thing. He just fill a glass with water and sing the icaro that that plant gave to him. So
Hmm.
he basically he's channeling the frequency and put it on the water, and the person
Hmm.
drinks the water
The
and
water.
get
Uh-huh.
the, yeah, and gets the medicine.
Mm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, and
Huh,
that's the Icaro.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, totally. Because in I know a little bit more about the Tenochtitlan, the in like the so Mira Sabina and also the was it the Mesotech have the tradition which they would refer to as the little mushroom of language or
Mm.
little mushroom that speaks, and
Mhm.
basically all of their poetry and chants and songs they say directly come from the mushroom itself.
Ah.
It's so
Yeah,
amazing. Now
yeah,
that you're mentioning it, I just recall that when I was young, as a child, I
yeah.
always create a new language with the different pet that I had.
Oh,
Like if
okay.
I
Uh-huh.
had a little dog, okay, I created a language for him.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Uh-huh.
Mm.
it was a cat, I have another language for that cat. And it was
Okay.
totally, like naturally.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it. And I remember my brothers, he was like making fun of me and asking me like, how you say that, what are you saying?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And it was like invented words, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because the animal was like, like getting that from me.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the animal was pulling that from me. And so yeah, and with the tone and accent and
Hmm.
everything, it was crazy. But I was
That's
doing it all the
interesting.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different languages, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember Tito,
I
that was a really funny dog.
yeah. My first cat, the first cat that I had when I was, when I was a baby, was my dad's cat was called Whitey because it was all
Mhm.
white all over. My dad names everything with an E on the end, like doggy and catty and yeah. So this was Whitey,
Uh-huh.
this cat. And I have that same experience as you, as that like the cat and I, we used to talk to each other, but like a lot with body
Yes.
language and eye language and like how you turn your face and how you
Yeah.
position your
Yeah.
body. And
Yeah.
that cat and I mean, when it died, I really grieved for a long
Hmm.
time. I was a little kid, but it was
Hmm.
deeply bonded to me. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And that's amazing. Yeah, animals are
Oh
they
yeah.
are like directly connected
Yeah.
to
It's
the
interesting that
lattice.
you
Yeah.
talk about the plants being connected to plants in this way too. It's a really intriguing concept to me that you can be created connected to the whole universe through this experience of connecting yourself with the plant. I mean, imbibing the plant, making the plant a part of you, and then the plant opens up this ability for you to be part of, and then come back and talk about it. That's just so, I don't know, it's surreal almost.
Yeah, I've learned that from my grandmas actually. Well, my
Oh.
especially the one my father's
Hmm.
mother. She was, because I had more time with her, I spent more time with her, but she was always like talking to the plants, and there
Hmm.
was always a cat and a dog in that house.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
she was always talking to the plants, and She was in this constant interaction with the field.
Yeah.
Like she was all time, like talking, and I was paying attention and what she's
Right.
doing, what she's saying. And she was talking to herself or with the environment, and all the
Mm,
time. And she created this environment of peaceful, uh serene space where
mhm,
I can go and play and feel so safe and feel
Hmm.
so in my place, you know. And she was like always, like protecting, but in a way, in a different way, like
mm.
just from. So yeah, and it was pretty much normal for her to talk to the plant and say, "Oh, what's going on with you? You need little water, maybe." And
Yeah, yeah.
it was,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like the dimension of magic. I don't know,
Mm,
uh, and it was so natural for her. And she was also, my grandmother, and she was uh like her grandfather was a German guy who married a native, right?
right.
Hmm.
So yeah, and she knew a lot about natural medicine and all this stuff. And she was always talking about crazy things, like I remember in that time she was talking about aliens and crazy stuff, but that was a long time ago. It wasn't popular at that moment, and there was no internet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
it was really cool. Yeah. And she also sings and played the guitar, I remember. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yes, yes. It was really magical, you know. And she was always like, when I got this experience, we were living in the same place for a while, and uh, I got this, like I thought it was Medusa, that appeared to me, and I got super scared and run to the kitchen and tell my grandma, I just saw this ghost, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
Oh,
appeared to
Uh-huh,
me,
uh-huh.
and it was freaking scary. And she told me, oh really? Oh well, there's a little kid, that is running all the time here with a red hat. She told me, like, another ghost, and she was super used to it,
Yeah,
interacting
that
with all
happens all the time.
and she was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's nothing. There's some kid running around here as well." So I was
That's
like,
funny.
"Okay, yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah," and
Awesome.
always
wow.
super open to these, ideas of, okay, there's something more, and there's a field, and we can,
Mm,
So it was really encouraging in my family, actually, to develop these characteristics. Like, if my brother all the time had visions about, crazy things, or in the future or something,
mm,
and we all were like that. Yeah, and it was good, in my family to
Yeah.
explore that side of
yes.
of ourselves. Yeah.
Life of, yeah, of our intersection with reality. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Fascinating. So many
Mm.
different ways to interpret the world and to interpret experience.
Oh,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm, mhm.
So, Satori D, thank you so much for the
Yeah.
wonderful poem that you sent this morning and the interpretation of it. It's just
Oh,
Mm,
yeah.
so beautiful, and I'm just so grateful to you for all the. It's such fun to do all this stuff. And
yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
like that's the fun thing, like that that I've been as part of Infinite Imaginarium, and how I like to use minds is like
yes,
creating these little poetic games.
yeah,
it just
yeah,
it's just more interesting than the other stuff that people like to use social media for.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And those videos are just,
Oh,
super, super cool. Thank you so
yeah,
much,
yeah.
Satori.
Oh yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
the music too, and then hopefully we keep it up because there'll be stuff for Bob Dub to do voiceover with.
Oh,
Like,
thanks.
there's this other so the myth of the human universe by the Mayans, and this is in Shaking the Pumpkin traditional poetry of Indian North Americas or whatever. And
Okay.
it's very similar to the Guardian of the Night, but it's like a different interpretation. And
Oh,
it's kind of funny how this one goes, and I like to like read it and then you use some within the vacuum music or whatever in the background. But I think
Yeah.
too, moving forward, because you know what we're talking about, and I've been recently getting into it more, and it's like embedded in one of the poems that I gave you. The so uh, so fragile
oh,
frequencies, the
yes.
different
Mm-hmm,
hertz,
mm-hmm.
there are different
Yeah.
hertz and like different things, which will be interesting to play with and expand on and
Yes.
further Mescaline City blues content. And also
Yeah.
too within the vacuum, get the bounties for your ST tokens for
Yeah.
Oh,
some of the Mexican City blues videos.
yes.
There's
Oh
probably like
yeah.
a
And
bunch
I've
of
Yeah.
them.
got bounties there for voiceovers, Satori D. If you've seen in my bounty
Oh,
thing, I've put in some.
okay,
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I,
awesome.
I want I
So,
want to keep doing the sessions. Like the
Yeah,
spontaneous
yeah,
sessions,
yeah. That
and
sounds awesome.
oh,
yeah,
yes.
my idea is to make it in different places, like to find
Yeah, uh
uh
huh.
nice places and do it there with different
Ooh,
musicians and
Musicians,
everything.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and that's
wow.
all. That's part of what I want to get the funding from Artisan,
for
because
yeah.
yeah, that will be amazing. And this first session, it was like everybody just put themselves into it,
Hmm.
and nobody charged anything. Like Carlos facilitate all his equipment and time, and also
Yeah,
Andy. They were just helping out. But I would like to, like recognize a little,
yeah,
at
yeah,
least their time, and you know, and try to put it out there, because I think that's something really, cool. It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Totally.
And all the different musicians will create crazy
Yeah,
Yes.
magical
different stuff.
things.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
So
Yeah, keep it up. That'd be
when
good.
we do the within, you're going to be making that. So I did the voiceover for Ishel, and you're going to do some music, are you? And then Satori, are you going to make it into
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna do
man?
the video. Yeah,
Oh, you'll do it into a video, okay? And so
yeah.
then will we? What are we doing as the Mandela narrative challenge that you set us? Is this it, or is
Oh,
there a separate one that we're meant to be making
well,
a
yeah.
blog?
You could, yeah, you could do the blog, but there's, that what will unfold to is I gave you in the latest post. There's two other web sim stuff,
Yes, yes, yes,
and so that actually has some of the stuff that we've been mentioning. Well, so there's the literary analysis, but then there's the
yes.
galactic harmonic
Harmonic resonance.
resonance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
I recorded
yeah.
that this morning. That's beautiful.
Oh,
Shall I send that to you
yeah,
too? All right, I'll edit it and
yeah,
send it to you
yeah.
this afternoon. That's gorgeous. I
Okay,
okay.
love it.
yeah,
Okay.
So yeah, I'll create some music for the poem then, right? The one
okay,
that you
yeah,
send me.
Oh, the
Uh,
yeah,
Ishel. Yeah, that's
yeah, they show.
glorious. I love that. I love that story.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That would be
That's so
cool.
exciting. So wonderful and so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ah,
it's
so
gonna be
exciting.
awesome.
It is so awesome.
but
So
also,
awesome.
but also too, people are liking the little spontaneous sessions.
Oh,
Like
yes.
even beyond what I thought about. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It's fun, anyways.
So fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Loving
yeah.
it.
Let's do that.
Okay, cool. Thanks,
Okay.
Okay.
guys.
Thank you so
Well,
much. All right.
Catch you in chat. We'll see
okay.
you in chat
Brilliant.
Mhm,
Thank
later.
mhm.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye, bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.